Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 3, Extended Breakdown. This is going to be the last time we break down this episode. We've been talking about it for 3 days, but many of us widely regard this as the best Walking Dead episode of at least in a long time, possibly of all time. So many different things going on with this. We're going to start like mid-episode tonight because we get on a couple topics of how it started out, and it just we can't move forward. So it is good, and we got to start talking about next week's episode probably as early as tomorrow night. But I want to thank all of you for being here. All the multiple streams. You guys know this week is double shot, so we're doing a 7:30 stream at night. We're also doing a 9:30 stream. Let me give a super special shout out to all the Patreons in the house. You guys can see the Patreon army representing in full force. Thank you for everything that you guys do. If you guys want to become a Patreon, there is a link down below. So this picture that is up on the screen, we're actually going to start out with the Alpha Carol showdown, because the psychology in this episode is a lot to do with what happened between them, what's happening between maybe Sadiq, what's happened to Henry, and why she can't get over that. Her pills, her hallucinations, what's real, what's not real. So I think that's probably mid-episode, and that's a good place to really start it out tonight, and just fast forward all the way through, and then we'll have a couple more topics. So, we'll start out with the darkest, most chilling part of last week's episode. I asked many of you what was the most shocking, and you guys thought that the Alpha speech. Now, because of the Sadiq storyline, that's starting to get a little bit more traction, but Carol should fear Alpha. I'm not going to say Carol's just a one-trick pony, like she can go out there and get revenge and kill, but Alpha is certainly playing a totally different game than everybody else. Michonne is about don't be afraid, let's meet with them. Carol's about, let me find her, let me get revenge. Daryl's about shoot first, ask questions later. Alpha seems to have like this storyline going on, a little bit of deception, a little bit of fear. I mean, so many different things are at work, and Alpha certainly does have a weakness, because I think she hit something when she's relating to Carol. So what is the comparison? What does she have in common with Carol that she's willing to forgive her? Mother to mother. So she does feel that pain, but after it's over. Like, what I found interesting about Alpha is, when she said that blonde boy screamed your name, and I know that we're saying in an earlier video that it could have been Sadiq. So mother to mother, we didn't bring this up in the earlier video. Would Alpha kill a mother's son, knowing how she feels about Lydia? Or does that lend a little bit more credibility to the fact that it could have been Sadiq that was actually forced to kill them? Could have been Beta. I mean, it could have been somebody else. But mother to mother, maybe Alpha just doesn't want her hands to be in the blood, because she certainly forgave her. But regardless of how that story plays out, with the past scene Pikes, I think it's going to add a lot of energy. It's going to add a lot of excitement, and we get to dig down a little bit further with some of our funnel theories. We got Steve Smitherman super chatting it up. Steve says, if Alpha had someone watching the group, wouldn't they have seen that Lydia is still alive? And that would cause problems within the Whispers. Makes me think very well could be Sadiq or someone else. Very, very nice. Wow, that is a strong... So, Steve brings up an excellent point here. Is this a potential plot hole? Let me go back to Alpha's own words. We're always watching. So if And Ellis says they're watching the border, but that's not totally true, Ellis. They're watching the border, but they would have seen Lydia cross the border. So I think that's an excellent point. They didn't hide Lydia. Lydia was going to kill herself. Lydia was right there, walking across the border in the snow. So in that particular instance, maybe they saw what was left. Maybe they saw some of the kills they made. I guess with that one, Steve, Lydia's been kind of tucked in Alexandria. You know what? You stumped me. I think it's a great super chat. I think it's an excellent point. I don't have an answer for that. I guess if I were to give you my unfiltered answer or give you my theory on it, is there could be someone from the inside. I think you're absolutely right. Maybe Siddiq is feeding them information, so there's one option. Number two, maybe they weren't watching that area when they were crossing. If Siddiq is on the inside, then maybe they wouldn't need to. But I'm going to kind of contradict that just a little bit. Steve Smitherman says, she also was in the wide open with Daryl. True, but here's why that can't be totally right, is because Siddiq was, and we brought this up, I think, a little bit last night. She could have someone on the inside, but the only way she would have known that it was Aaron and Michonne is if Aaron was on the inside, because Siddiq would not have given her the information that Aaron and Michonne crossed over. Alpha knew that, and she said, you and the man with the metal arm. So I would say it's probably more realistic that Siddiq is not feeding her information, that they were not watching them cross over during the wintertime because they were gone, but they saw what was left, and they knew they had to get across one way or another. Then they were watching with the smoke, and then they were watching the border with the other area. Or, to Ellis Smith's point, they were watching. Now, they didn't see Lydia. She was wearing that hat. That's a possibility. Or option 4, it's a plot hole. And they weren't expecting us to say, well, what about Lydia crossing? Somebody had to see Lydia. So, or, hey, let's give option 5. Maybe it's a combination. We got a whisper in the house. Omicron. How did they know they crossed the border? Give us some info. What do we know? What do we not know? Great point, though. Great super chats, great points. Thank you for that. We're going to need a little bit more information. I think at this point we're just funneling and speculating. Maybe we never find out and we're just left to our own devices to sort of figure it out. Okay. Carol with the gun. How many people saw that from 10 miles away? That's the hard thing, right? Is not everything can be a shocker. Not everything can be a surprise. We can't always be in the moment. We had to see the gun, but I guess the bigger question is, was it going to be a shootout? Everybody else put their weapons down. I don't think did anybody here realistically think that Carol was going to be able to kill Alpha in episode number 3? So, we knew there was going to be some interference or something to stop that from happening. But Alpha did not even flinch. And I absolutely, and Julia, I agree with that. Julia says, I'm glad she tried. Follow-up question for the group, though. Because she tried, does that put the radar on someone else? Now, Michonne lied to Alpha. That puts the radar on somebody. Carol tried to shoot her. That, she did say, I forgive you. So by her saying, I forgive you, I believe her. I believe Alpha, even though she's a wordsmith and she's a little vague from time to time. I don't think you tried to shoot me. There will not be conflict. I don't think there's going to be conflict. I think she's okay. It's fire's nature to burn. We have no problem with nature. So she has no problem with Carol's reaction. She has no problem with the fire. But I think she has a problem with Michonne looking her in the eyes and lying to her. Bamber Kitty, episode 6 says, Sadiq struggled to solve a mystery. Oh, you're way ahead, Bamber Kitty. I'm not on episode 6. It's all I can do to get through episode number 3. But at least if there's a Sadiq solving a mystery in episode 6, then Sadiq ain't going to die for a couple episodes. So I also want to touch on the Pike video we did yesterday. Ben Stevens says, until they find a turned whisperer with a gunshot. Yeah, you know what, Ben? Great point. Carol was forgiven. Mother to mother, I forgive you. You killed my people. There will be conflict. I'm going to do the heavy breathing again because of that whole speech. My favorite part was when she had to take those 2 deep breaths. That just brought it home. Like she can't contain herself. But yeah, Carol shot one of them. Carol crossed the line. Literally crossed the line. Yeah, Emmy, that's going to be my thing. Like all season long, anytime I get like real passionate about a topic, I'm just going to do like those two heavy deep breaths and then pull my alpha out from nowhere. You know what? We'll do it. I'm a little worried. Well, not that I'm worried, because look, if I've got a stack rank, Ezekiel, Jerry, and then one other person, looking back at the Pike picture, and I'm going to finish this breakdown, I promise you. But we did a video yesterday, if you haven't had a chance to watch it. We predicted 4 bold deaths with the Pikes, because Alpha is talking about, and it's relevant because Alpha is talking about marking the border. It might be a little bit redundant because she had a chance to kill him the first time. But the second head on the Pike could also very, very likely be Luke. Luke and Jerry have very similar length of hair, very similar beard. And from the distance, and I know some people are like, yeah, kill Luke, don't kill Jerry, don't kill the king. I mean, it could certainly be Luke. But if it is Luke, then I'm going to go back and say that the first Pike is certainly not Kelly. Because I don't feel like we're going to get two people from the same group reassessing the Pike video. Wouldn't it make sense if all the kind of communities and groups are sort of equally represented? Like, we got somebody from the former kingdom, we got somebody from Oceanside, somebody from Hilltop, somebody from Alexandria. I just think that would be kind of, I think it would be fair. If you start taking out like two of Magna's group, even though they're part of Hilltop now, I just don't see Luke and Kelly both being in that. Gage is no doubt 100% kill shot confirmed as the number 3 from right to left, or number 2 from left to right. I think we go Rosita, if we're starting from left, Rosita, Gage, Ezekiel, Jerry, or Luke in that group. And then I felt like the fourth one was Kelly, but now I'm not sure. So yeah, but I would ask you guys to do me a favor. Our videos are funneling and speculation. So if you hear something or you read something in a Spoiling Dead's fan page, please do me a favor. Do not share that information on our live streams. Because a lot of the rumors that are out there come from other places and other sites. And if we get something that's like, hey, such and such is going to die on episode 7, it kind of, takes a little bit of our kind of thunder away because we like to build it up. So I'm just saying, if you got some info, no spoilers. And I want to make an example because I got to ask this question. How many of you have really enjoyed the speculation and the theories and the predictions and the funnels and all those things we've been doing the last 4 or 5 days? I mean, doesn't it kind of feel like this is our zone again? Like this is our World Series. This is what we do. And you see the super chats and the ideas and everybody's creativity, and it's completely unfiltered. I mean, it's fun again. It wasn't fun with fear. It was a task. Brandon Schneider, what if Pike Desk calls Michonne to Lucille some? Oh, I like that. I like that. I mean, she is pointing it down. And if Michonne were to use Lucille, could it possibly be used to desensitize the viewers for when Negan uses Lucille again? Just quick thoughts on that. Could it be kind of a, just something to build up the audience? I like it. And if she does Lucille, that felt pretty good. Here you go, Negan. You try it a few times. But, Brandon, I would say I feel like it's more likely than not that she's handing it to Negan to get him to fight. Trade in that crowbar. Here's Lucille. Stefanella, super chat. Yay, made a live stream. I'm loving season 10 and Samantha Morton's performance, amazing. Stefanella, we touched on this briefly last night. And, I didn't ask for a response from the crowd. I kind of said, hey, I'm going on record for it. But I'll ask you guys for a response today. I'm okay. I'm a big boy. I can take it. I went on record of saying I think Samantha Morton's acting this season is as good as anyone ever on The Walking Dead. Give me your thoughts and comments to that. Let me know. You think, hey, Kills, that's a little too much. She ain't no Norman Reedus. She ain't no Andrew Lincoln. I think she's up there. I'm not willing to say it's the best all time, but I would say it is at least the equivalent. Okay, I mean, love it. I love you guys feel that way. And when somebody plays a villain and they play it like the Joker, great point, Jason Mixologist Daily, or Negan, how Negan did it. Now, Alpha ain't ever coming full circle. I know. We said that about Negan, but she ain't. She ain't ever coming back. I feel very comfortable. She will never be redeemed. Stefanella Super Chat says, absolutely, and Negan fan for life. And I know Kel was. And you know what, Steph? It's hard to get people in the moment to be completely honest with this question. But because you don't always remember how you felt, like on episode 7-1. But I do just want to ask the group, how many people were Negan fans the very first time he walked out and went eeny, meeny, miny, mo? No doubt about it that not Jeffrey Dean Morgan fans, just Negan fans. Because I was not. And I will tell you again, I will not go back and watch 7-1, because if I go back and watch 7-1 right now, I'm going to have to go back and watch every little thing he did along the way just to get me to like him again. So I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to forget 7-1 ever happened, because I'm going to be watching him save Daryl's dog and Judith like 100 times. Like, all right, I can like him again. But yeah, I got to stay away from that. Sorry, had to do it. Got to remind you guys a little bit of what happened. All right, let's move the story forward a little bit. This is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 3, Extended Breakdown. We did a spoiler stream on Saturday, AMC Early Watching. We did a reaction video that had just a ton of brilliant comments. Last night, we started talking about the breakdown, and we didn't get through all of it because there's so many good pieces. There was nothing bad in the whole episode. There was nothing bad. Everything is a mystery. So that's why we keep getting, we get on a topic and it's like it leads to another topic and another topic and another topic. Fear, we spent 30 minutes talking about a hot air balloon that looked like a beer. Tonight, we're talking about if Sadiq's shaking hands, the fact he can't pick up a scalpel because he might have had that machete in his hand and cut Henry's head off. So he can't even look at a tool any longer. Do the alpha voice for my son, please. What do you want me to say? Your people kill our people. There will be conflict. You just got to do it. You got to feel it from the heart, Will. My daughter. I do love, though, when she's never out of character. I love when Alpha gets out of character. Samantha Morgan is always like on the money. But the character of Alpha is a barbaric animal. And then sometimes she remembers. Like, Lydia's dead to me. She was dead to me when she was born. She's not like me. So that's that complete moment of breakdown. And then, she's going through the speech, right? There's one rule among our people. Stay on your land. Yet you disobey. You must be punished. I mean, but then, that's Alpha, right? That's Alpha like in character. But then if you take it forward a little bit, where she said, you should fear me. I don't. I look at you and I feel nothing. That blonde boy screamed your name just before we took his head. And then when they're leaving, that's when Alpha gets out of character. That's when she really, really digs in and it's like, we're not. It wasn't like you should. She kind of got that drawl, right? She got that drawl and it's like, we're leaving. I don't care. We're leaving. We're out of here. We're not. And that's like not Samantha Morton changing it, but Alpha, woman to woman. Like Alpha was an animal a couple minutes ago. Now, are you talking to me? That was Alpha's Rick Grimes moment, right? When Rick says, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Alpha's like, we're not. Not the barbaric animal voice, but now woman to woman. Not till this one turns her eyes to my feet. I loved it. I can't talk about that scene enough and the impact of that scene. Literally, I could go back and watch that over and over again. And I'm not one to watch a scene multiple times, but it was absolutely incredible. So, what about the smirk? Alpha was the first person to grab the pike and pick it up, and she got this sinister smile on her face. And it was almost like a group of undead army just kind of marching all at one time, where Alpha picks up the stake and then everybody else follows suit. And look, you better run. I mean, she better run, but look, she wasn't going to move the stake that fast. And Daryl got the urgency of the situation. Let's get out of here. Now they're walking the border closer. This is my land now. But these whispers are following them. They're on their territory. So let us go back and remind the group. There was a group out there at one point that was lurking around. And it was the scavengers, and it was Jadis's people, and they took Father G back to the junkyard. The whisperers have the ability to sneak in and out without being detected. Amy Ferrero, super chatting, says Samantha Morton plays the crazy alpha so well, she can flip on a dime. Amy, a couple of things. One, she can do anything. She can certainly change characters. I think that was very evident in a couple big scenes. The scene with Gamma's sister was very unpredictable. How many people thought Gamma's sister was dead? You know, took her to that place, the sunlight shining in the background, got this real nice backdrop. I, for one, thought that she's cutting her head off. But she didn't. She showed restraint, and she played that role extremely well. And I guess even further in that episode, you know, with Lydia, saying it, oh, they cannot know. They cannot know. Lydia is dead. And then there are some scenes, and I don't compliment easily. Like, somebody really, really has to knock it out of the park for me to harp on it and say it's great. Do you guys remember, how many people saw The Wall? Just draw a real quick comparison. And you guys are probably going to be like, what does this even mean? But I'm going to give you an example of something. If you haven't, check it out. Okay, a few. And do you guys know one of my turns? You know, day after day, love turns gray like the skin on the dying man. And night after night, you know, right? And you know the breaking stuff and trashing the room. You know, are these all your guitars? Want to take a bath? You guys know what I'm talking about. Hopefully you know the scene. Throwing stuff out the window, all of the above. Okay, it takes a lot. Takes a lot to have a really, really good destroy the room, trash everything scene. Because if you don't do it the right way, it looks fake. It looks manufactured. You know, you set up these fake things and somebody kicks them over. What I loved about the alpha scene is the way she broke stuff, the way she knocked things over, the taking hitting the tree, all of those things. I felt her frustration and I felt her violence. That it wasn't like, you know, you go to kick something and you don't hit it square and you miss and it looks more awkward than it looks like you're seriously, passionately upset. That anger, absolutely, Lewis Grimes. The anger resonated with me. It looked real. She had this breakdown with Beta, and shortly after, she trashed the shrine that she built. So it wasn't corny. It wasn't cheesy. It was you know, Amy, to your point with the super chat, her acting is not only good, but her motions and her movements complement her dialogue, in my opinion. A couple more super chats. Amy Ferrer says, there's some strange piece of humanity that she's left, but she's so twisted. Emmy-worthy performance. You mean Emmy Bacon? Oh, you mean like Emmy, like an award. She is amazing. I have not seen a weakness. In fact, the only weakness that I saw with the alpha character was not even a weakness, and that's what Will the Bill and myself have been going back and forth on, is last season with the Pike scene. I didn't like the very vague story of the Pike victims with Sadiq and how it happened, but I think I understand it. I've liked her character, and I thought they've done a good job of when she has the mic, she's good, but I didn't think they told a dark enough story. But now in retrospect, it looks pretty damn dark. I mean, if that whole thing with Siddiq plays out that way, it's crazy. Brandon Schneider says, will we see Alpha's first Pike scene from point of view full? Brandon, here's the thing. I feel like, I think it's a good question. I don't feel like we're going to see the entire Pike scene. I feel like we're going to see flashbacks of one of two things. And if you agree with Will, and Will said he thinks Siddiq, because of the inconsistencies, and I respect his opinion, he says he thinks Siddiq was the one that led the lambs to the slaughter. He didn't kill them, but he is the one that did her a solid and got everybody all in one place. I am of the mindset that Siddiq was captured like the rest of the group. And here's a couple of things. One, he was beaten up. So I think he was suckered just like the rest of them. So I don't agree with Will. I think Siddiq actually was forced to kill them. I don't think he led them to their demise. I think he was there. I think he tried to fight. And I think she's so twisted that she made him kill Henry. And that is perhaps to me the darkest chapter in the history of The Walking Dead. If that played out. So to answer your question, will we see Alpha's Pike scene from a point of view in full? I don't think so. I think we're only going to get flashbacks through Siddiq of what he did and what he actually saw, even though he said he didn't see anything. More to come with that. Now, Brandon, as a follow-up, the second Pike scene, I think we see it. I think the only reason we didn't see the first one is because of who was holding the machete. And Alpha saying good to him after he did what he was told to do. The second one, I think, is going to further her legacy and show exactly her taking care and marking the north border like she said she would do. Will the Bill earlier said he felt her weakness. And that's in regards to Alpha, that Alpha still has that, to Will's point, Alpha has that human side to her. She's trying to be an animal, but she still has emotions. And she still cares for Lydia. Sherilyn Tuck says, enjoying the season tremendously. Love y'all. We love you too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for that super chat. And got a ton of good ideas. And let me also say, Sherilyn, I know many of you were here for Fear the Walking Dead. Some people were not. But I'm starting to see all of our hardcore Walking Dead fans back. And that's why these theories and these arguments are so powerful every night. Because we've got some of the best and the best here every night talking about this. If you're brand new, subscribe, hang out with us, hit the like button, all of the above. But we'd love to get your thoughts and opinions in these videos. I got Will the Bill. Will the Bill, Alpha's an animal, but she needs a pack to be that animal. The Alpha and Beta scene showed her weakness and then was snapped out of it by Beta. So Beta is certainly her right hand. So he was not only calm, he had her back, and then you guys saw him. You know, they're not kissing like Michonne and Ezekiel. Very simple gesture, hand to hand. I'm here for you. You can feel the connection between the two of those. So certainly, Will the Bill, I agree with that Beta is okay with her secret. But Gamma will not be. Gamma is not. Gamma is going to realize she sacrificed her sister for a fraud. And I think that's going to be a big problem for her. Ben Stevenson, imagine Negan handing Rick the bat. I got to think about that one for a second. Imagine Negan handing Rick the bat. In what context, Ben? Like, you think they'll meet again? Or you mean as opposed to Michonne handing the bat to Negan? I mean, I can think about it, but I'm trying to think about what context you would put that in. Or as Alpha would say, but I consider context. So now, I need to consider context. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, I get that. Now I see what you're talking about. Great point. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. So what he's saying is, imagine Negan handing the bat to Rick and saying, kill Glenn or I'm going to kill Carl. Well, wow. Yeah, my mind is blown right now. Question for the group. What would Rick Grimes have done? What do you guys think Rick would do? You know what? I'm completely at a loss. Negan hands Lucille to Rick and says, kill Glenn or I'm going to kill Carl. With the bat. No. That's not an option. Two hands in a radio. Not an option. I'm not going to put that on the table for you guys. I'm not going to give you an out and say, no, Rick would swing at Negan. I'm going to say, there are guns at Rick Grimes, and Negan gives him the bat and says, you kill him, or we're going to kill your boy. What would he do? And look at how polarizing of a topic that is for the group. And you know what? I love this answer. My favorite answer is Lynn Nesvik. I have no idea. And what's interesting about this question, and thank you so much for that super chat, because it is such a deep psychological issue. We asked a similar question earlier. And some of you are saying, Rick wouldn't do it. So I'm going to ask the question of you. What would you do? What would you do if Negan handed you a bat and your child was over there waiting and you had the choice of killing Glenn or losing your child? I mean, Taya, I love Taya's answer, and Taya answered this very similar earlier. She said, I would have no problem taking out Henry or Tara or one of those if it meant saving my family. Ben Stevenson gives you a view of what Sadiq maybe went through. I absolutely think that, and I appreciate you creating that visual image, because it goes to the DNA of who you are. Like some people, Taya, and I respect everybody's opinion with this, because to me there is no right or wrong. It's what you would do. Tara Mama, how would you know that after you killed them they wouldn't kill your child? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. It's a leap of faith. And I think it's such a dark topic. It's a tough topic to talk about. But if you're really into the psychology of The Walking Dead, and I'm going to tell you guys, I would bet 90+% of you, maybe even higher, would do almost anything to save your child. And I would expect you to. Emmy, I would save my kiddo, no question. If you gave Emmy a bat and said, it's kill shot or my kid, sorry, kill shot ain't doing the 9:30 stream anymore, everybody. That's just the way it rolls. And Tara Mama, you bring up an excellent point. How would you know? You don't. But one thing you do know is that if you don't do it, you're going to lose either way. And I think in this scenario, to Ben Stevenson's point, is Alpha, you can say a lot of things about Alpha. She does play on words quite a bit. But she seems to keep her word. Now, she's crossing the border. There's some things going on with that. But she's not attacked them. She's watching. And I think Michonne thinks she can be reasoned with. Michonne went up to have a conversation with Alpha. So it's not like they're not trying to work it out to a degree. So if Alpha said to Sadiq, you want to see your child when your child is born, you do this, or we're going to kill him anyway. It's a tough situation. I respect everybody's thoughts on this. Some people are going to say, you know what, Kills, I'm going to fight to the end because I don't know. That's your answer. That's your answer. Some people are going to be completely blunt and say, you know what, I don't care who that person is. This is my kid. And if there's even the slightest chance that I can work it out, that's what I'm doing. Because the reality is, everybody, those people were already dead. There was no getting them out of that situation. So, I got to ask you, did it really matter whether Sadiq killed him, or Beta killed him, or Gamma killed him, or Alpha killed him? To the person that died, yes. For an instance. Because just when you thought it couldn't get any more dark and sadistic, you have to watch a person live while you die. So, I mean, I can't put myself in that person's position, but it also could have served a bigger person. Alpha has been referred to as having nukes. Michonne calls her Walker Army nukes. But I'd also say that she has another weapon, and that is Sadiq, because Sadiq is a ticking time bomb. I think Singer Chick just got inadvertently hidden. Can we unhide Crystal? Thank you. You know, when they talk about the fear element and how, you know, the enemy's growing strong, well, Alpha, all she's got to do is just torture somebody to a degree where it's catch and release, but it's catch, break them, and then release them, and it's almost like just this cancer that's spreading throughout the community. When you see Sadiq, and Sadiq was a well-respected doctor in the community, and you can get him to do these diabolical things, I think it would challenge the group to say, what is she capable of next? Because that is some twisted stuff. So some very, very good points. You guys are making some excellent points the last couple days. So I'm going to kind of push the story forward just a little bit. All these things are tied. And once again, if you guys are just tuning in, this is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 3, Extended Breakdown. We're not just breaking down this episode. We're still, we're flashing back to various scenes. The three whispers, what was interesting is that Carol saw them and shot. But I did find it a little bizarre that Michonne said no one else saw them, no footprints, no nothing. That was a little bit strange, that there wasn't even a track of them. So that made me wonder whether that was real or not real, even though we know later on it was real. So I'm having a hard time following everywhere Carol is at right now. But I guess the intent is that you feel like you haven't had any sleep as a viewer. You feel like you're the one taking the pills. As a viewer, you're kind of meant to be in Carol's shoes. Will the Bill. Alpha preys on the weak. Put Daryl in his place. Well, Will, here's the thing. If you put Daryl has been in that place. And it just goes to show when there's 50 of them and 10 or 11 of you, that doesn't work out well. Dwight was going to kill Daryl for what Daryl was willing to die. As soon as Negan put that bloody bat in Rosita's face, that was enough for Daryl. Now, you can argue whatever points you want to make. How many people here, and we're going to move this forward in a minute, but I want to know, how many people here think Daryl's actions got Glenn killed? That him stepping up and defending Rosita and going with his mood, going with his attitude, end up costing Maggie her husband. And I'm not saying do you blame him. I don't want to use the word blame, but in the context of the story, certainly Daryl's actions got Glenn killed. Now, we could argue Negan would have killed somebody else anyway, but it might not have been Glenn. Daryl was going with his instinct. He did. So, Will, I agree, Alpha preys on the weak. Negan didn't necessarily prey on the weak. I mean, Negan beat the crap out of Abraham and then antagonized Rosita. Got Daryl to almost snap. Dwight was going to shoot him. But even with all of that, they held Daryl down. And Daryl had to watch Negan kill Glenn. So, and this is kind of back to your point and my point. So as Will has said, Will feels like Sadiq was made to watch the decapitations. I would argue we've seen that show before. Because the other people had to watch Glenn and Abraham. So we'll tie in Ben Stevens' super chat. How crazy would it have been if Rick would have had to kill somebody? So if Alpha chose Sadiq to do this, it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. It is up there on a whole different level of cold, bizarre, evil, twisted, and more than anything else, psychologically twisted. Jason Mixologist Daily says, hey, Kills, I think Alpha is changing the Borders territory to purposely box the group in so the Horde can finish them off. First step, limit their food supply and resources. So, Jason, I agree with that. And this is something, and I'm pretty sure you were here because you and I, even last season, talked a lot about this. What is Alpha's MO? What is she really trying to do? Some of that is certainly box them in and die starvation, suffering, all of those things. But there's also phobias. And when we're talking about the psychology of what she's doing, she's making them claustrophobic. I mean, she's tightening this up to a point where you can't leave your yard. You can't leave your house. And I would say that when some of these people get to like a vegetable state, that's when she can sort of pick and choose the 10, 15, 20 that will qualify to become whispers. Because one of the things that we haven't talked about a whole lot is how is she recruiting people? We know how they're getting their guardians, but how is she getting the gammas of the world? And we can do an entire stream on this. So I need you guys to do me one favor. Let's get into character. Pause most of what you know. Let's say Alpha is in charge. Which characters, as it currently stands, if Alpha were to win the war, could you see become whispers? Give me your top 5 characters right now that you see that could cross over from Team Hilltop, Team Alexandria, and could be on the other side cutting off people's heads. Heart of Nixie says Lydia. Jim says Gabe. Taya says Eugene. Cindy says Gage. We saw Eugene kind of cross over with Negan, right? Eugene always seems to pick the winning team. Aaron, no. I wouldn't say Aaron Storm because Aaron lost Jesus. I think Aaron with that, mechanical arm, I don't see him crossing over to become a whisperer. Now, it's a loaded question because I think it's hard to think of several people that could be in that role. But remember, we're just getting started with the psychological warfare. Carol is losing it. Sadiq is losing it. A few more of these events, a few more of these, you got everything stripped. You got to be able to break a person all the way down to hopelessness and complete loss. And then you feed them when they're starving. That you show them being an animal is the only way to survive. You take all the emotion away from them, rob them of every feeling they have, because the one thing they keep saying is, I feel nothing. And they're trying to get to that point. So I don't know that there's a lot that are in that state right now, but to Jason Daly's point, box them in a little bit more, torture them a little bit more. If Will the Bill's right, make them watch a little bit more. If I'm right, make them kill a little bit more. Regardless of what position you're in, Michonne knows. If we're afraid, she knows that when fear sets in and goes all the way through, that's when a few people are going to defect. That's when they're going to pick the other team, and then they're at a complete disadvantage. They're going to leave, they're going to die, or they're going to convert to the other side. Amazing, amazing conversation around this episode. I got a follow-up question for the group. Is there anybody here that doesn't think this is top 5? Not just to single you out. I'm just curious if there's anybody that did not like this episode, because I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop talking about it. The more we get into it, the more questions. They're good questions, and they're questions that we know they're going to answer. I I don't feel like we got completely through the extended breakdown because there's the Rosita Eugene story. There's the Sadiq and Dante story. A lot more can be added to this. Will the Bill says, so can the Whispers continue on when Alpha and Beta die, or will Gamma submit? So Will, I hate to say it. Well, I don't hate to say it. I love a good villain, and I'm not trying to rob the comic fans of that Negan killing Alpha moment, or if it happens to be Carol killing Alpha, or maybe it's Lydia killing Alpha, whatever the case may be, depending on what we end up agreeing upon. But I would really love to see one of them escape. I'd really love to see Alpha lurking out there somewhere. That maybe our group wins the battle, but the war is always still going on. And then later on we get subtle little hints. And because to me, evil is never fully extinguished. And I think that's the real world, right? You never completely cure it and get rid of it. But on television shows and on movies, it seems like a lot of times the only way the audience is satisfied is if there's 100 Whispers and 98 of them are dead and 2 of them convert. So we know at any given time what happened to all of them. I would like to see if there's 100 Whispers, 50, 60, 70 die, our group gets the victory. But then there's that lurking story that's out there that always makes you wonder. There's more than one form of danger out there. Whether it's the walkers, whether it's people, whether it's the weather, whatever the case may be, all of those things. And so I know it's kind of a long way to answer the question, but that's my hope for the show. But I certainly think that Beta dies. I think Alpha will get decapitated. I'm not sure about Gamma. Maybe Gamma could be that person that continues to lurk. It's a good question. Thank you for that. The Carol, I'm going to table the Carol discussion for tomorrow night because I think that in itself and her state of mind is probably an entire stream. So we got into bits and pieces, not just the Alpha, some of the imagery and what some of the visions that she's having actually mean. Shannon in the house. What's up, Shannon? Good to see you, man. Thanks for that super chat. Gamma says, Shannon. Here we go, everybody. We're double shotting it. Gamma could lead the Whispers and move on. You know what? It'd be kind of cool, as much as we like to see, as Amy said last night, the Rick story woven throughout the Walking Dead. I'd be okay if there's a Whisper arc woven in the Walking Dead in the future, that the animals do survive. So, maybe there's some older Whispers that have figured it out in the new spinoff. I'm totally okay with the shows crossing over as long as it's a good story. Winnie the Whisperer. I don't think so, Melissa. I know it's been speculated. I know some people even thought Winnie was Gamma, but I don't see it. Will the Bill. Me personally, I'd like the Whispers to continue along with a new villain. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Keep a few of them. Hey, I'd love there was a wolf here or a termite here or there. Some evil saviors still out there. But no, we tend to extinguish the threat for the most part. Unless you're Fear. Fear, there's people from season 1 I'm still wondering about. But great questions. Great feedback, everybody. So tremendous groups bring the Whisperers back in during the Commonwealth. Yeah, I'd love to see it, MS Warrior. Certainly nothing wrong with looking over both shoulders. Jessica Ward wants to know, how long will Alpha last? If she survives it, she could be a villain forever, Jessica. I think probably the better question is, how long will the Whisper arc last where the two groups are going to war? I don't think it carries over into next season. I think you're probably looking around, 14 is where the big dramatic events are probably going to go down. But Michonne, how long is Michonne going to be there? 5-6 episodes? When's Maggie going to come back? What's the context of Michonne leaving? We know 7 and 8 tend to have some really, really good stuff before they go to the break. And then episode 9 will be the mid-season premiere. That's going to be good. I think that's where the real Whisper story arc in 9 is where it's going to start to wind itself down. And things will happen super fast. Yeah, I'm going to leave the Maggie story alone because I was super critical on that Saturday morning rant, and I kind of got all my feelings out there in one fell swoop. So Maggie to me is very similar to Negan. It took a lot for me to really feel that redemption with Negan, and I think the writers know. And I'm not saying this from a personal standpoint of Lauren Cohan. She has a right to negotiate what she wants to negotiate. I'm just saying that the writers have to know Maggie is not 100% popular. She was pretty popular a couple seasons ago. And the writers understand that, and they're going to have to work on the story to give Maggie a little bit of that boost. And they will. They absolutely will. They're not bringing Maggie back for people to hate her. They're bringing Maggie back because they're bringing another big name back to the show. Phyllis, I don't either. Phyllis 9654 says, I don't think the show needs Maggie. No doubt. But Phyllis, I don't think the show needs Rick Grimes. So, but it doesn't mean that you can't find a good story and the story's not good. If Rick came back, I think the show's doing fine without Rick, but if Rick came back, they'd find people are going to welcome with open arms. There's no doubt about that. Maggie's the same way. Maggie's a big name. She's a star of the show. So do they need her? No. But can she add a boost if the character's written the right way? Absolutely. Amy Ferrero, this group is awesome at digging into The Walking Dead. It absolutely is. I'm just blown away by some of your thoughts, some of your theories, and how a lot of these things come together. And the funny thing is that by the time we get to 5, 6, 7, and 8, those episodes, when some of these things happen, they certainly feel like it was expected, right? I mean, there's a couple times where I know the one that kind of comes to mind more than any is Simon. We called the Simon-Negan battle long before, and then when Negan choked him out, a lot of people were like, yeah, we saw that coming. But it was a shocker to a lot, but our group just sort of took it in stride. But there were many other people who were like, oh, there's no way. Why did they do that? It was like a complete mind blown. But we sort of narrowed it down. The story was going that way. You could see Simon doing some plotting behind the scenes. And Amy, like we do because we talk about it so much, if you break it down, you can't completely shock the audience with everything. There's so many clues. There's so much writing on the wall to give you at least a direction or a path. Lure the Purr, a.k.a. Tyler Bradley in the house. Lost streaming connections for a few minutes. I have bad connection at work. It gets really annoying. You know what? I'm just happy that you're listening at work. It makes my night. And if your boss watches, you don't have to answer. But a quick show of hands. How many people here have ever watched one of our live streams from work? I just don't answer if your boss is watching. But if you can safely answer the question, let us know in chat right now. If you guys have just kind of checked us out. Cheryl and Tuck, best YouTube channel ever, 999 Army. We can't top that one. So I will not disagree with you because the major difference between our channel and every other channel is it's not one person. It is a whole group of people. It is you, the 999 Army, This channel does not run with me. This channel runs with each and every one of you. That is people in the streams making it happen, our Patreons, our PDL sponsors, our moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, our super chatters. I mean, we've got a lot of things going on. So really quickly, want to make a couple announcements for everybody. This week is Double Shots week. If you guys have a good time and next week's episode is really good, we'll do Double Shots next week as well, which means we're going to be streaming from Monday through Thursday, 7:30 early stream. They're usually a little bit shorter, 20, 25 minutes, and then our 9:30 stream at night. We're only doing one stream on Friday, but Friday's a pretty big event. Friday at 8 o'clock is our Freestyle Friday. We start with the Walking Dead topic, but it is it's casual. We hang out. We just, whatever comes up, if it's super chats, if it's kills coins, you got to experience it. And usually about halfway through that, we invented a brand new game called Play Dead Live. It is a mix of Dungeons and Dragons. It's a mix of The Walking Dead. It's a mix of, you are put into the role of Play Dead Live, where you get to interact, you get to handle your character, make decisions. Hang out with us on Friday night. You'll see what it's all about. We've had a great time doing that. And then after those streams, after the Freestyle Friday, a lot of people go and watch AMC Premiere late at night. And then Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, we do our spoiler stream. Not everybody wants to know spoilers. Not everybody's watching the show early, which is totally cool. That's why we're doing it on Saturday morning. So you guys can tune out if you don't want to know the spoilers. And then on Sunday night, we will be back once everybody in our group has had a chance to watch it. People that watch early, people that don't want to watch it. We do our reaction video, and that's one of our biggest streams the entire week. So a lot of good emotion, a lot of good ideas, especially when there's like a major event or a death or something happens. That's where you want to be and get your thoughts and get your comments and that. And then we kick it over all over again on Monday. So that's what we got going on. Deborah Cox, actually, last week, if you guys weren't here for Play Dead Live, we had a King of the Hill, which was a player versus player. A lot of times we do scenarios and we have groups against the elements and group versus, whatever the common enemy is. But sometimes we mix it up and we get some creativity. But go back and watch it, because even though I told you who won it, check last week. It was very creative. And if you ever want to know what kick 'em in the spinach means, then Deborah Cox actually coined that phrase. Ironically, Deborah Cox. But sorry, Tommy, you got kicked in the spinach. And with that, pun fully intended, I will sign it out. I want to thank each and every one of you. Patreon Army, thank you so much. If you guys are interested in becoming a Patreon or you want to support Play Dead Live, there is a link down below. Our green team, everybody that is in green, there's a join button down there. You get custom badges, custom emojis. We are going to be changing up all the emojis in the next couple days. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be, a couple people. Look, it's late, everybody. We are going to be changing up the emojis. We're going to be adding some fresh emojis. So stay tuned for that. We got some new super fans that are going to be coming up right around the corner. If the green team can give a quick shout out to all my moderators, all four of them are the super fans this month. Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells do a tremendous job. They're here for you guys each and every night. With these big streams, they got a very tough job to do. So I want to thank them. They're the lifeblood of these streams. They really make it go. And super chatters and each and every one of you, which is 999 Army. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thanks for watching the ads. And thank you for being the best group on YouTube when it comes to breaking down The Walking Dead. I will see all of you tomorrow night at 7:30 with a brand new controversial topic. If you guys have noticed the theme, we get these bold theories out there early, 25, 30-minute videos, and then we get our deep dive into The Walking Dead at 9:30. I will see you all tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.